Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello. Okay, perfect. Okay, so panelists. Oh, Omar's going to be joining us several times today. Panelists, I didn't go over this when we were just talking about it, but if you click on participants on the bottom and then click over to attendees, we can see who is joining. So if you want to take a peek and kind of see who looks familiar, let's see. Oh, my boss is here. Hi, Adrian. Amy is one of our ambassadors. Hi, Amy. Oh, there's Harry. Anyone else see any familiar names? Yeah, if you're joining, go ahead and say hi in the chat if you want to introduce yourself.
My
Hmm.
peeps are in class, so
Be nice
Perfect.
to know where the
Hello,
participants
everyone.
are, what state they're from, where they're from.
Sure, that'd be great. Yeah, say where you're from. Jose said he's from Calallen ISD. That's in Texas.
oh,
Rebecca,
Alex.
you're from Denton. I used to teach in Frisco, and I lived up in the Aubrey area. So we were kind of neighbors.
Oh, someone else from San Diego.
Oh, Devora, they're talking about your cup. Do you want to show everyone your cup?
Oh,
Mine's at school.
I figured this would be my water cup for today.
I think it should be. It should be a water
It's
cup every day.
my ambassador water cup. I use it all the time because it's also a great size. If I drink all of it, then I know I'm drinking enough water. And when I don't drink all of it, I haven't drank enough water.
Yes, I know it's massive. It's a
It is.
40 ounce, so it's
It's 40
big.
ounce. Yeah, so it's like perfect. Um, I did have to replace the top because I broke the original top, but thankfully online you can find replacements these days.
Perfect. Perfect. Good, good, good. Ooh, someone from Nova Scotia's here. Hello.
Ooh,
Got someone from the Bahamas too.
Ooh,
Los
Other countries.
very different
Angeles.
climates.
Oh, hey, Amy's here. Hi, Amy. Bunch of San Diego people.
That's amazing. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited everyone's here. Thank you for joining. Let's go ahead and get started. We are at 11:06. I know we're in the middle, well, in San Diego. I know this is the middle of the day, and so I appreciate everyone making time to join us. Already a huge thank you to our ambassadors for taking time. Thank you to y'all's administrators also for finding coverage for your class so that I could steal y'all for this. Let me go ahead and share my screen so then we can get back to slideshow. Just going to narrate everything I do. And then okay, perfect. Here we go. So, thank you everyone for joining. This is CTE in Action, Real Educators and for a Real Drone program. So, I'm going to be talking a lot at the very beginning, and then I hope to not talk the rest of the webinar because I really want our ambassadors to have center stage and talk about CoDrone and just drone education in their CTE classrooms. So, for those that don't know me, I'm Frankie Baker. I'm the community manager for Robolink. I am in the Dallas area in Texas, but right now I'm actually at our headquarters in San Diego. I've been, let's see, today's Thursday, such a whirlwind. On Tuesday, I was in LA with doing a lesson in a science class. And so we've used the drones to talk about energy transformations. And so that was fun. And so since I was in town for that, we've been doing community events along the coast in SoCal. Got to be hip with the locals. Before I got in this role, I was a former math teacher, specifically sixth grade, but I also dabbled in eighth grade. And then I also was a digital learning coach. So I help teachers and students use technology. So I know from campus to campus, that role looks a little bit different. And I put on here current hype girl. Basically, what I mean by that is if there's Kool-Aid, I'm going to drink it. I get so excited about just generally everything. So, yeah, just our current hype girl for all the things, essentially. I have released a poll. If you don't mind, release answering it. It's simply just, have you used CoDrone before? Are you involved with the aerial drone competition at all? And then a fun one is, what is a non-negotiable in your morning routine? be as unhinged as you like. So while they're answering that, panelists, would y'all like to answer our final question of what is a non-negotiable in your morning routine?
Coffee.
Coffee.
My
Coffee.
four-legged children.
The
Mhm.
pups. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, coffee for me too.
Okay, and how do we take our coffee? What does coffee look like for us in the morning?
Starbucks
Nope.
cream and sugar.
Black, made at home.
Really, I wish. I'm a vibe coffee girl. I don't really like coffee, but there's something about holding a coffee mug that someone else made.
Well, my
Omar,
husband
yay!
makes the coffee, so
Have to
You
have
get the
caffeine
same.
though. Cuban coffee.
You, Suzanne, you have Cuban coffee?
Oh yeah, espresso that's beyond anything you've ever had. You take your big mug
Okay.
of coffee and it's this big. That big
Oh my
piece.
goodness. Okay, you're well caffeinated. Did Omar hop off? Oh, there he is.
no.
Omar,
No.
would you like to say hi to the group?
Hello, everyone. I actually tried talking, but yeah, I just was going at the same time as someone. So, anyways, my non-negotiable, same thing: pups, coffee, caffeine. Got to do that, and yeah, some music in the morning is always great. But
What are you
does
listening to?
a little bit of everything. Just depends on my mood.
I understand. Taylor Swift, when her album came out, I was very into that. And then for some reason there's a resurgence. So like that is Opalite plays on repeat in my head right now. So that is what I'm jamming out to internally. Okay, perfect. Oh, we have a few black coffee drinkers in the chat as well.
Yeah.
Oh, Rebecca, I do know the Rainbow Siren Tech. She is a close friend. For those that don't know, that is Jessica. Is it Campos? Oh, Campos? So clearly not that good of friends if I don't know there's an O, but she is a friend of mine. We work in the same area, but we know each other through the ed tech community. That's your daughter. Aw, yay. Well, I'll have to text her after this. That's exciting. Cool. Okay, thank you those that have answered the chat. Or the poll. I'm going to go ahead and end that. Thank you, thank you. Oh, I can share results, but we got to dive in. So our introductions, we're going to do that. Calling it Ambassador Chit Chat. We have a few questions, but we're going to kind of follow the conversation where it goes. If you have questions, we have a Q&A, right? I don't see a Q&A in here. Okay, interesting. Oh, there it is. For me, I had to click more and then I saw Q&A. Answer questions. If they're like a timely, like I'm going to hop in, I'll interrupt the group to kind of ask the question live. If not, we'll wait till the very end. Let's keep the chat for like, I guess, more generic crowd questions, or if you want to like give comments to what's being said, if you want to hype up our ambassadors and our speakers. But for questions, it'll kind of help keep things organized if we put it in the Q&A. Perfect. And then at the end, we have a drone giveaway. So for those that stay till the very end, I'm going to be working in the back end to make a raffle or a drawing in the goal spinner. And then that person will get a brand new CoDrone EDU kit.
Wow.
Perfect. So real quick, I know I said I was going to stop talking, but I got to talk some more. So we're Robolink. So we're creators of CoDrone EDU. This person might look familiar. That is Devora. A lot of our pictures on the website, we were actually taken in her classroom with her students. So this is a picture of the students with the drone in her classroom. Here's a picture of us at the aerial drone competition with the Rec Foundation. So I won't read the whole thing, but we believe that students aren't just consumers of technology, they are the creators, pilots, and pioneers. And so our hope is to provide a drone that allows students to really engage in the content, get excited about the future, and really dive deep into drone education. And then just naturally that competitive nature with the competition comes to your classroom just because kids are kids. So let's talk about some real results. We're just going to go in order of the slides that everyone made. So Omar, you're up first if you want to give an introduction and kind of explain what we're looking at here.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am Omar, or to my kiddos, I'm Mr. Cortez. I currently teach robotics and I teach drones here in Dallas for Dallas ISD. My teams are the Lady Drones and the Owl Drones, and what you're looking at is a couple of our favorite moments. So on the left, I was Drone Coach of the Year for the South Central Region Championship. On the right, I do have pictures of my kiddos bringing home 3 banners, which was the all-around tournament champion, the skills missions champion, alongside with the communications champion. And on the bottom, you can just see some of our girls at work. And I'll be diving a little bit deeper into those into the next slide and how we're yeah.
Can you talk about who this lovely lady is on the side over here?
Yes. So that would be my wife. Her and I run everything together. We do the drones, robotics. Her and I, we work together. We're even at the same campus. She's my partner in crime. And so odds are, if you've seen myself at any event, she's with me. And yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. We're skipping this one. Suzanne, you're up next.
I am a 40-year retired science teacher that used drones 10 years ago. I was using CoDrones before the CoDrone EDU. And one, there was no competition, but I needed coding drones. And so my kids did drone dancing, drone swarms. Every kid was a computer, a drone, and we actually performed on stage with our drone dances on our big cultural arts center with dance people and music people. I am now a coding teacher, and we use drones as part of our robotics program. But so I don't do drone competition, aerial drone competition. I'm getting into drone soccer.
That's
So
amazing. I'm excited. I'm excited to hear about that. Okay, let me skip through. We'll go back to all the great content. I just wanted to get y'all's overview slides. Sally, you're up.
Okay, hi, I'm Sally Smith, and I am a K-12 science outreach teacher at my school system's owned and operated science center right here in Lanham, Maryland. I do robotics, I do physical science, I do space science, but I do drones. And I am so excited to share with you all the things that we have started and the successes we've had, and maybe how you can get started too.
Perfect. Thank you. And then last but not least, Devora, you have the floor.
Hi, I'm Devora Selnicker, Mrs. Selnicker to my students. I teach at a school called Canyon Crest Academy, which is in the San Dieguito Union High School District. The photos on my slide, we have both. I teach engineering and computer science classes, a variety of them. We use all of our introduction to engineering students, get the drone usage in our units in there, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. And then we also do now have an aerial drone competition team. We have an A and a B called the Aero Ravens, and I'm the school coach for that. We have some parents that work with us too. And we also, as a district, have adopted the CoDrones into our middle school classes and all of our middle school STEAM classes. So I'll talk a little bit about all of those things.
Okay, I'm going to forget to ask this question later, so I'm just going to jump ahead. What does it look like to have parents involved? Like, how did you recruit their help? What does that look like? Because when I go, I see parents as spectators. I'm not saying that parents are never involved. I've never been able to ask.
The parents actually brought the team kind of to the school. Some of the boys had worked in middle school together, and we wanted to, we started out as they started out as part of another club, and they wanted to turn it into something like more special and specific to it. So it's been a process of that, but the parents were kind of the ones originally involved in taking the kids to the competitions and doing all of that. And last year we were what's called a non-school sponsored club. So like the parents were just doing it, and we wanted to turn it into, because of the ties to our curriculum, we wanted to be more school sponsored. So we're now actually in the process of becoming a team underneath our foundation, like our other robotics teams are as well, so that we can have parent coaches as well. Because my time, I also coach track and field, so my time is kind of tricky sometimes to get to the competitions in the springtime. So this way, we have a lot of parent involvement in different clubs and coaches here. Parents have to go through a whole process to get, cleared as volunteers and things. But yeah, so it's kind of the parents of kids in the team is usually how it starts. And then a lot of them will stay on even after their kids have graduated, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Omar, I know you're super involved with the competition as well. Do you have and what does parent involvement look like with y'all?
For the most part, they are our support system, and they do help us out a lot when it comes to like fundraising for anything that we need. But as far as like volunteering for coaching that's just not at our particular situation. But I do know
Mhm.
that, like, during one time we had qualified for a championship, like we needed funds, and all the parents were able to get together and rally and help us
Aw,
with different fundraising, ideas and suggestions.
I love that.
And
Perfect. That's great. So let's go ahead and get started. I kind of want to stop our screen share because I want us like up and like everyone can see us. But if you need me to pull up your slides, just let me know. I would love to get started with when and how did your drone program begin? We've touched on it a smidge. Um, let's see, Sally, do you want to get started on this question? You want to get us started?
Sure. Okay. So I'm about 30 minutes from Washington, D.C., and they had the National USA Engineering Festival. And so I went down to it, and there was Robolink. And there were all these people who were around the stand, and I wanted to go see what it was. And I went there, and they had their very first drone, CoDrone Light. And so I was watching the drone. I wanted to fly it, but all the kids were there. So I did the right thing. I didn't push the kids out. I let them fly. But I did sit there, and not only did I watch the drone, I watched all of the engagement around me, all of the kids at different age levels, all of the parents, everybody wanting to be there. And we have aerospace programs in my county. We have forces of flight. We have unbalanced forces in the NGSS. We have all these things, all these applications and careers, all of the drone careers that are happening in my county. And so I said, I've got to start a drone program. So I bought my first drone, and because I'm at the Science Center, we get to propose our own programs. And I said, I want a drone program. And that's how I got started.
Love that. Who wants to jump in next? Suzanne, perfect.
I started, God, 10 years ago. We had our Adrian Arts Center wanted to tie in STEAM, and they developed a musical called Kitty Hawk, and it's a kids musical about the Wright brothers and all of this stuff. And me and a drama teacher and a math teacher, we wrote this curriculum for Kitty Hawk with the forces and all that stuff for teachers to use. And then we started an after school program, and it just wasn't enough. The kids were just not that engaged with flying paper airplanes and so I said, let's do drones. And because it's STEAM, so that's what we came up with the drone dance. And I'm not a battle bot. I'm not a competition person. So and it attracted. I had mostly girls because we were doing drone dancing. So
Yeah.
I had 25 students in my program, and 20 were girls. In our other schools, they were a lot of girls because they got to code these drones, and there were only two drones at the time, the teledrones and the CoDrones. Parrots was going out, and the kids voted for the CoDrones because they had lights, and they loved the lights to code the lights to the music. So we had a grand time, and we did this for years. Up until last year was the program. So we had the Kitty Hawk program, this after school program, and now that I'm teaching computer science, I started with the Drone Career Academy with the Part 107, and that just didn't fly. With the change in U.S. drones, blue drones, Florida governor said we can't have Chinese-made drones in schools.
Mm-hmm.
And it made it very difficult so I own my drones because we can't have them. It's been nice that Robolink has gotten in with the aerial drone rec, and so I can use them because they're part of the rec aerial drone competition. So that gives me permission to use the drones, and we're floating right now a whole bunch of upper elementary schools. I created a curriculum for after school program, and hopefully this summer they will be buying drones for an after school program because I am it for the drone program for all of South Florida. Me and my
That's
this
impressive,
this
Suzanne.
is not a lot of drone. I have one up in Central Florida. Embry-Riddle has a bunch of schools in North and Central Florida. They have about 200 schools, but because of the law change, their drone programs are not doing well, but they're all Part 107. I'm hitting upper elementary and middle school, and they want to fly. They want to have fun. So I have these missions and this curriculum and coding and all kinds of cool stuff that we play with drones. and
I
not just,
love that. Get them interested.
yes.
I promise this webinar is not meant to be a sales pitch, but I do want to jump in and say that we do have the certifications and the clearance for if any of our attendees are like kind of hitting that same obstacle of like, oh, they're not allowed. I encourage you to reach out because we do have some certifications and are in a lot of districts that you might not know about. So just
Right.
side note on
Yeah,
that.
that's why I now can use the CoDrones because of this certification, which has
Mhm.
been great.
Perfect. Yay. Okay. Let's see. Sally, Suzanne, let's go Devora.
So I don't remember where I first saw the CoDrone. I think it was some conference or something that somebody mentioned it. And then from there, what I decided is we were using we were doing ping pong ball launchers for our intro engineering class for our control systems unit. And we are always looking to update to the most recent thing. And so I came across the CoDrone and the curriculum that went with it. And so we get local grants. One of our banks, credit union banks. That was the word I was looking for. Sorry, one of our credit unions does small classroom grants every couple years, and they're like $1,000 or less. And so I got through that, I got 2 drones, and I had some of my advanced engineering students testing out for me the curriculum that went with the Robolink drones and sort of how was it compared because they had all done the ping pong ball and the launcher, and they kind of knew what that was. So I had them kind of compare them. And they were like, well, we're learning the same, we're learning the code through Python. The system was good. And so we decided, I reached out to my CTE coordinator and I said, we'd love to adopt these for our class, but we would need, a whole class set of them. And our classes are 40. So that we thought originally we'd have one per 3 or 4. So we started out with 12 drones and they went over really, really well. And they decided, and Robolink also happens to be local to San Diego as a
Yep.
company. And when I ordered them, the head of the company actually reached out to our school and was like, who's ordering these? Because his child actually comes to my school and was starting the next year. And so I sort of started talking to them and it sort of developed into a partnership. So we have adopted all of the STEAM classes in middle school are now using the Robolink drones and they're using the block coding in middle school. And now our high school class, our intro engineering class uses Python. So it sort of brings it to the next level for those students that have had the middle school STEAM. But if not, they can also jump into it. And now we're actually bringing it to our computer science foundations course as our physical coding component, as opposed to doing Arduino, which is because we're teaching Python in that class. So this way we can stick in the Python world of coding. And so we're bringing it to that, you too, doing different types of stuff. And we also were lucky that since Robolink is a San Diego company, our advanced engineering class last school year, we partnered with them as one of our internship opportunities for some of our students. So we had 8 students work with a person at Robolink and working on their swarm technology and also testing out some of their new curriculum as well. So we've actually had like a really nice partnership with the company being local to them. And again, as I said, I had middle school kids that came to high school and they kind of brought the idea of the competition as well. So now we have a competition team also, and we're growing. We've got 2 squads this year. Last year we only had 1. So we're hoping to keep growing that program as well. So that's kind of where we are.
That's fantastic. Thank you. And Omar, round us out. How did you get started?
It was completely it was completely unintentional. I was actually my plate was full. I was doing robotics full time. I was doing Vex IQ, Vex V5. But the librarian over at our campus is one of my good buddies, and one of our initiatives on our campus is 100% of teachers involved in extracurricular activities in some way or form. And so he asked me, he goes, is robotics difficult to do? And so I was kind of just explaining to him this new game came out and it's just like robotics minus the engineering aspect, but from what I read in the rules, the teamwork, the alliance work, the skills, it all plays out very similarly. And so he did the pilot for it here at our campus, and I was still involved after school. I would stay and hang out. And so I ended up falling in love with it. And I said, hey, is there room to grow another team? So then my wife and I jumped in and we did the lady drones. And so, yeah, we started off with one team here at our school, the Owl Drones. And I was just helping out, volunteering with him. And before I knew it, I wanted to start my own, and now I'm also teaching. So after that, I reached out to our district coordinator and said, "Hey, can I get these so I can teach as a classroom for our advanced robotics?" So they start off in the pathway for intro, and then when they get to advanced, I'll do a little bit of Vex EXP, but then in semester 2, they'll do CoDrone EDU. So yeah, now I have 2 sections of it plus my after school program.
Perfect. I love that. So let's like kind of talk real talk here. Actually, I kind of want to skip ahead because I feel like this is going to be like an itching topic. And if y'all need slides again, just let me know. I think the question is a big question is going to be how did you get it funded? So, there's a cost that's associated with having the drones either in your class or the competition. So how did you get it funded? What were the sources, if you know, and if you feel comfortable explaining it? Let's start with Omar since you ended it, and we'll kind of round robin, or we can just jump in as well.
So I'm very fortunate for the most part. We are district funded, and there is a stipend involved for participating. So yeah, I'm just very lucky.
Okay, so district involvement for sure. And then what department do you happen to know? So like the technology department funded it?
Computer science. Yeah,
Okay,
computer science.
wonderful. Sally, you have a really fascinating funding
Okay,
story.
if you could put the slides up, that would help a lot.
Absolutely.
We don't have money. We're 150 million short right now. And
Oh,
so
goodness.
we have to get money. And so here are some of the ways. She's putting a slide up for you that shows how I got my, can we go to the funding slide?
Sure thing. This one? Yep.
Thank you. There we go. So Title 2A is professional development. And so it's for the teachers, not the kids. But what you can do is I took my staff and I said, okay, everybody's getting trained on the drones. And do we get to keep the drones? No, they're going to be for our program. And so what I did was I put in for Title 2. And then I started doing that after I did our staff. I started doing drones for the county, but I would always throw some in for us for the actual workshop. Another way is that collaborations within the district. We have the STEM office and the STEM schools, and we also have immersion schools. And they generally have a different curriculum, but they normally have a budget where they have to hire consultants to come in from outside the county. Their budget's a little big for that. And so instead of doing that, they decided to hire me. So not only would I get paid just my regular school salary, they would pay me in equipment. So I would say, I need 9 drones and this amount of batteries. And in exchange, I will train your teachers and I will be their support during the year. If they have any questions or problems, I funded my robotics programs that way, and I don't mind helping the teachers. And every year I'm able to get something. Now, the Science Center, after they saw the drones and they love the drones, they started investing for me. And so they went ahead and they bought me a drone arena for a family science night events. We get like 400 people that will just be rushing, and you want to keep everybody safe. And so you need that drone arena for us. We also they bought me a drone cabinet. Even Donors Choose. I bet a lot of you are a part of Donors Choose. While Robolink isn't there yet as a vendor, that would be awesome because the other vendors aren't there. But I was able to get my cones and other supplies, safety cones to put out my flight areas and everything. So that helped me as well.
Perfect. And I did ask about that, Sally, because I feel like I had someone get the drones through Donors Choose. And if you have resellers, so for any attendees who are like, how do I get the drones in my school, my classroom? Robolink's not an approved vendor. First of all, we'd love to be. But second of all, we have resellers who will sell the drone as well. So you could probably possibly get the drones through there. And then some of them are also on Donors Choose.
Right, the resellers are there with the CoDrones. They are there. If you put
perfect.
in Donors Choose drones, the CoDrone does come up with resellers.
Oh,
Perfect.
fantastic.
Right. So if you just type in drones, you'll see that they come up with the CoDrones now as a reseller, not Robolink.
Perfect. Anyone else want to speak to their funding sources or how they got drones in their class?
Sure. So, well, I kind of mentioned like my first couple drones were through the small grant through our credit union. But then we are lucky as a district. Our CTE coordinator for the district, Manuel, is very well versed at writing grant money for different events. And we're all, for the high school, we're CTE. So we have the federal funding from CTE, and the drones, we were able to use CTE funding to get the first class set of drones through the sections funding, because we get about $1,000 of funding per section. And we have about 4 sections of introduction to engineering each year. So we use that for sort of our general, like, to originally buy them, and now like just to buy supplies each year of like new parts that we need to update and stuff like that. And then for the middle schools, I know that he wrote a grant in the summer, one summer, to get a grant to help cover the supplies for doing that. So he's just really good at finding all those grants out there. And part of his job is doing that. So, and he does a really great job of it. So we're very lucky to have him to help us with that. So
fascinating. I love all that.
I'm in a district in an area that just doesn't, because drones are not popular, they don't fund it. I've written grants for every drone, everything that I have. The problem with grant funding is you have to be different. You know, economically disadvantaged, all of that doesn't work very well anymore because everyone's using economically disadvantaged. You have to find a different hook. My last one a couple years ago was we bought the CoDrone minis and the kids, and we shipped half the drones to the Bahamas. And the kids did drone dancing through virtual. So they had a partner in America and a partner and they trained each other, but they were doing it virtually, and they produced their own dances together. Our biggest problem in the Bahamas was, that's why we had to get the minis, is the Bahamas does not allow drones.
Oh, gotcha.
And luckily the school that we were partnering with, husband is a lieutenant, and so was able to convince the ministry in Exuma to allow the kids to keep the drones. So the school keeps the drones, but it was different. And so they funded us the $5,000 to buy, 50 drones. We sent 25 in America to different schools and 25 to the 2 schools in Exuma.
That's really cool. I love that.
Yeah, they had a grand time trying to learn and use with technology that wasn't good, kids learning. And this was, right after COVID, so they had a big deal, but yeah, they really enjoyed. But I do everything grant funded. I'm now in a charter school, so there's a little more funds coming with CTE. But again, I'm trying to get other schools in our charter school system to be able to fund the drones. And because I'm the only one, it's like
big task.
It's a hard task. So I've taken the different route of, okay, let me get more people involved. It's just not me. And maybe I will get more funding.
Absolutely. More hands on deck. Before we switch gears and kind of talk more about CTE focus, I did want to do a call out. Robolink, we post a blog about once a quarter. We kind of look for grants that are applicable and apply to CoDrone EDU. So suggest, since you're here, you'll likely get put on the newsletter list, but suggest checking that out if you're looking for grants and want some of those. We also have a grant writing tool. So from our lovely ambassadors, we kind of crowdsourced the verbiage from their successful grants. And so when you download that, you're able to get what was used to be successful. And that way, like Suzanne, you are getting more hands on deck. You can get more people kind of like think about the application. So since this is a CTE webinar, let's talk about how it looks like in your class. So CTE and drones. So how do you justify that the drones are more than just fun tech, and then or how does it reinforce CTE standards or industry skills? Yeah, Suzanne, you want to lead us off?
When I started switching from science to computer science, I spent time observing CTE computer science classes. And at least in my district, it's mostly sitting at a computer coding Python, and I was finding that, and when I'm talking to the teachers, that the kids were not continuing with the academies. It was more, let's get your AWS, your certification, but it was no fun. And so to me, it was, we need to bridge this gap between pedagogy and application. And because I had the drones, I started as a consultant in the schools, saying, okay, when they've learned this Python, let me teach them the Robolink Learn program, and then they can apply it. And so what we do now, even with our whole academy, is that the high schoolers are flying the Python drones once a month. They learn a section of Python coding and use it to code the drones. So they know that, and if they don't learn that section of Python, or my students don't learn their section of Blockly, they can't code the drones. So it's an incentive to really get it, because they only have so much time when we're flying the drones or the robots or those things. And so we're finding them more interactive because they're so excited to get into the lab, because we have a separate room that we created for a drone to fly indoors. So we have an old studio that we've created with the hoops to fly the drones. And so it's not a classroom. There is no chairs, there's cushions, there's no tables. They bring their laptops. It's a whole studio effect. And so we integrate, so it's the bridging of pedagogy to application.
I love that. I love that. Who wants to go next? Deborah, perfect.
I can go, but you might hear a bell in 2 minutes.
Okay.
It's almost the end of class. It's almost lunchtime. So again, like I was saying, so it started out with us looking at our control systems unit that we do in our introduction to engineering class. And so we were using, before that, we had brought in this ping pong ball launcher, so students constructed them and they had to wire them and put in buttons and then code them with Python. And we were using like servo motors and things like that they were coding. And so the drones became kind of the new way for us to do that. And we do try to balance a little bit. We do teach the kids how to fly them as well, so that because they want that kind of like fun of flying them too. But the main point for us is to code the drone. So they're actually learning to code and learning to code the drones, so that they learn the parts of coding and then they get to see the drone actually doing the things that they're trying to code it to do. And is it working correctly or not? So that's kind of where we started with it. And our new idea now with our computer science foundations class, these are all, both of these are beginner CTE classes for our pathways. One's for computer science, one's our engineering pathways. And in this class, we're using it as the physical computing piece. So the students have already learned Python, or they're currently learning to code in Python. So what we're doing is putting together a variation of the curriculum that's just about the drone library and what are the commands in the drone library. And so for them, it will be very much about like using the coding they've already learned. And now we have these commands to fly these drones and to get them to do these different things. So that one's going to be more based on like, how do we get the drone to do particular tasks? And so they already know how to write a loop and write all of those kinds of things. So it's just teaching them what are the different ways we get the drone to do the things we want it to do, and talking about the idea of libraries in general and sort of bringing in that level of it. And then we always mention the teams to the students. So if they want more flying, there's that team opportunity for both coding and flying. And so it's kind of, we're trying to work to feed that part of it. And then we're hoping for the advanced engineering in the future to be able to keep working with Robolink also for some of our students, working and seeing kind of the back end of like, how do you create a library for the drones, and, doing all of that kind of things. So.
Perfect. Omar, Sally, either of y'all want to jump in?
I can.
Omar. Oh, Sally, there you go. Perfect.
Oh, no.
Sally,
Okay,
all
I
you.
can. All around Maryland, we have Northrop Grumman, we have Honeywell, we have NASA Goddard, we have Andrews Air Force Base, United States Naval Academy. So we have a lot of different careers, especially in science, technology, especially in the STEM field. Lots of little companies too, all around here. And so for the kids, what we're doing with this is in using the drones, especially like our aerospace program, the kids that are going into the Andrews Air Force Base are going to be pilots. And of course, all of this, there's so many applications for them. They're using the drones and looking at our crops, looking at wildfires, looking in the military use. And so this begins to get the kids training. We use it in our aerospace program We have one called Summer Bridge, and the Summer Bridge program is a introductory program for ninth graders who are coming in and they're going to learn about aerospace, and they're either going to go into aerospace engineering or they're going into aviation, which is very strong. And so what we have to do for these kids is we use the drones in the summer just to get them, what are the forces of flight? What is motion? What are the terms in aerospace? And with these drones, it's a fun way. And we all know if it's fun, they're going to retain the information, they're going to keep going. And it also builds that teamwork, that collaboration. And we always hear from the industry, our kids don't have enough coding. And I know you've heard Python, 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 and which is fabulous. And this is a fun way to do that. But I want you to know there's also Blockly. And the kids love that block coding, and they can see this is what I'm doing and this is what it's doing. And that gets them into the unmanned system. So we use it in our ninth grade curriculum for forces of flight, fundamentals of flights, Newton's laws. We use it for team building in the summer. But then in our 11th grade system, now they're familiar. And now we're getting heavier. We're using drone aerial simulators, but the drones give them that flight technique, that precision that they're learning how to do. And so those are valuable skills that they're leaving with. And those are ones that the workforce is demanding they have. I'm sure you've heard of paperless pilots. Have you heard that term? They're paper pilots. And it means that, they look good on paper, but they don't have enough flight time, enough flight skill. And these drones, they provide that to the kids, and they're eating it up.
So no paper pilots at your school.
No paper pilots.
Perfect. Anyone else want to add anything to this line of discussion? Okay, perfect. So now I'm kind of hoping to talk about what I kind of want to keep, like, when we talked about, we called this the real talk section. So kind of like what's been challenging, what advice would you have, what surprised you the most? So if you have like any student stories that you'd like to share, again, we have the slides so I can pull those up. But just, again, this is not a sales pitch. We want the people to know if they want drones in their classrooms, y'all know what it was like to start it, to have it, to live it. So kind of want y'all to have the floor on this. Sure, Suzanne. Yep.
Well, like Dovia said, I think it's Dovia or Sally, that you wanted 1 in 3 drones. It really needs at least 1 in 2 is the minimum amount of drones, and that gets expensive. I can find the kids will share a drone, but not 3 kids.
You struggle with 3 in a group? Okay.
3 in a group. Minimum is 2. Most of them would prefer their own. And so that's what we're working for, is our robots, our computers, and our drones to do a one-on-one. Everyone seems to do better. Some of them will work better in pairs, but I'm finding that's the minimum.
Okay. That's great to know.
That's
Fun fact.
It's a big challenge. So it makes it very expensive.
Yes, that makes sense. This is not to say what you're saying is wrong, but I've been looking into the drones at the Olympics. I don't know if anyone's watched the Olympics, and they are teams of 3. So if you're needing to get some like buy-in, the real life drone operators at the Olympics are in a team of 3. So just a heads up.
Yeah, but we looked into that, and it's one is just a visual observer, one is a coder, and
yes,
one is a team. And so they're adults and they've chosen these roles.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Kids, I have enough trouble getting them when we're flying our big drones to make sure by the law that we have a visual observer. They want to fly. They don't want to do the role of visual observer. And
Suzanne, are you saying our students aren't just like real life professionals?
Not yet. They're getting
That
there.
is not my experience.
And I don't know, for us in high school, like we do sometimes have a visual observer. We will work with groups of 3. We did get more drones. So we have
perfect.
We have 20 now for the class. But space to fly 20 drones is hard. Classrooms are not that big. And so I am lucky in that I have a very large classroom because I have a double-sized classroom because of the engineering stuff. But my colleague Thomas does not have a double-sized classroom. And so it's really hard to fly. So we're always looking for an alternative space. Like last semester, he used our one of our small dance rooms that we have for
Mm.
our conservatory program because it's a big open space, and then we could fly a lot of drones there. We do have a black box theater that sometimes we can access, and we do have a STEM classroom that's like mostly open space that our robotics teams use as well that we're going to use for things. But I think space is definitely something to think about in terms of like flying, and also students need to have the controller plugged in near their drone. So that is like line of sight is a big thing. The other thing is battery management. So I did get this from someone else, but it works really great. We have all of the chargers sort of lined up on a part of the room and plugged in to like USB hubs. And then we put a student in charge each day of being the battery person. And so we have a charged bin and an uncharged bin for the batteries. And so when they're done, they come over, they drop it in the uncharged bin if there's no space. If there's a charging space, we have them put it in the charger. If there's not, then we put them in the uncharged bin. And there's a student each day who comes, and their job is to like check if they're full, to put them into the charged bin and then put more of the uncharged ones in and kind of keep that going. So we kind of have a student every day. I used to give that student a piece of candy. At the end of class, they will work for candy. Um, so it wasn't that a Jolly Rancher, like we're not talking, dumb adult Jolly Rancher, something small. So that was like the managing of those kinds of things and keeping track also of the drones are not indestructible, especially when you have so many kids flying them and, trying to keep your eyes on that many at a time. We have started teaching kids how to fix the drones too. So thinking about like how to change a motor, and we have a reference sheet with the link to the videos, and those are all actually easily found in the Robolink learning section of like how to change a motor and how to update things. So we've gotten kids involved in doing that too. So like if they have something happen to their drone, they fix the drone for themselves and then for the next group, because obviously we often have two classes, and so they're getting passed on to another group. So yeah. So just keeping
Absolutely.
track, like keeping a log of like what's happening with them, so we kind of have an idea of that.
I mean, that's a great practice to have, and that's very real world. Just so I want to kind of circle back to what you said about Thomas's classroom, your coworker. He's in a typical class. How many drones would you say he can, if he were to stay in his classroom, how many drones would he have in the air at once?
Probably no more. If you think about all the little spaces, probably no more than 4 or 5, I would think at one
Okay.
time would be reasonable to have like going. I mean, he does have, because his room is like an L shape, so he does have a couple of
Mm-hmm.
sections that he could have them flying, but realistically, with the tables and all the other equipment in there that he has, probably 4 or 5 max would be my guess.
Okay. And
Um,
I think classroom management wise, that seems about right. And also noise level, I
Oh
think
yeah, the
anyway.
drones are noisy. We do keep earplugs for kids that want them, because when
Yeah.
you do have 20 of them flying, if we're in a bigger space, it does get loud. And so
Mhm.
we buy just the squishable earphones for kids to use, so that if they want to block out the noise, they can.
Absolutely.
We fly in the hallways.
Mm.
They move out and they fly the hallways, and they just keep track of again, someone's monitoring the ends of the hallways. But
Mm.
our, our computer science, it's only me and the high school teacher in the whole top floor.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Our hallways are outside in San Diego, so that's actually not an option for us. Literally outside. You walk out the door and you're outside. So
What a dream. Yeah, this week in San Diego, it's been rainy and it's like the world has shut down. Um, and like when I went and taught, we were on a rainy day schedule, because I guess in California, it's typical for kids to have lunch outside. So it was rainy and wet, and so they had to have lunch inside. It's been an interesting week to be here to witness everything break down. Okay. Omar, Sally, any tidbits, any realizations, any advice?
I have a lot. I have a lot. I feel like I'm a novice. The first time they asked me to be an ambassador the year before, I said no, because I knew I needed a lot from them, but I didn't feel like I had anything to offer. I've only been doing my drone program that's taken off like for 2 years. And so I feel like a novice, and I feel like I do have advice for you if you're starting out. What really went well, the program's going really well. It's taken off. It's outrunning me. And I started alone. There's nobody else here. You guys are all on the West Coast. We're on the East Coast. There's not a lot here. So some things I want to share with you. So number one, I want to share with you is that I had never flown a drone before. When I saw that drone and said, I want to do this program. I'm going to do it at the Science Center and jump right in. I had never flown a drone before. And I'm going to look you in the eye and tell you, CoDrone EDU is easy to fly. It is the most stable drone and intuitive drone I have flown. And I can teach anyone, any age, to fly this drone and have. And so this is, if you're going to start with a drone, CoDrone EDU, this is the one. So here's my advice to you though. My advice to you is plan. Really sit down and think, what do I want to do? How am I going to use this drone? What do I want to do with it? And so plan that out. That'll be the first thing. The next thing is get yourself a drone and be comfortable with it. Make sure before you try to implement anything that you're comfortable. And I got online and, what do I wish I would have done? I got online and I learned how to fly the drone and I read the manual when I was flying and I was comfortable. I wish I had done. They have so many base camps and everything, so many lessons. I wish I had spent more time with the sensors, which is what I'm doing now. There's a barometric pressure sensor. And I went, what? Is that on there? There's a barometric pressure. I'm teaching weather. I didn't even know it was on there until Frankie sent out a note and said, hey, TI is going to do this barometric atmosphere. And I go, holy cow, I didn't even know that was on there. I knew there were color sensors, but I hadn't gotten there yet. So, there's lots of applications, but make sure you do the flight stuff. My best advice to give you, and I'm sure you already know this, what's the number one priority? Safety. And I have a classroom. It has 8 tables, 4 kids at a table, holds 32. And while I will put a drone at each table, or even in pairs, I'm telling you in this room, I am only flying one drone at a time. And you know what? You would think the kids care? No, they don't. They are so excited. And there's a lot to be able to watch the other flights. You can gain so much from the other flights. Mark off your flight area when you're planning. Where's my flight area going to be that's safe? Where are the observers? Is the back to the observers? No, they should all be facing. So I clear my tables out. I have everybody facing this way. I have a safety officer. I have a checklist. It's amazing that the kids, if they place the drone the wrong way, you don't want it flying towards them. So it's all these little details that we need to think about. Battery placement. How are these kids going to know how to put the battery in correctly? And here's one of the biggest things that I've noticed when I go out to the schools and also training my staff is that here's the controller. And the controller has 2 joysticks, left and a right, and then it also has buttons at the top. Well, if you want the drone to lift off, they turn on the power button. And if you want the drone to lift off, you press this top left button and hold. So I'll be there telling the kids, press and, what did I say? Press and hold. But if they get this hold of this and they'll be at the thing. And, Xbox, I think that's my enemy thing for this. Xbox is my enemy because the kids just go, joysticks. I know what I'm doing. I'm just going to, and they, the hearing goes out. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to figure it out. And if this has when the drone automatically lifts, you press that left button, it's going to rise. And I always tell them, wait till the drone rises, press and hold. When you see the props start moving, let go. Wait for the drone to rise because it's got a bottom sensor and it's trying to get that altitude of exactly what altitude it's flying at. And then the kids with the joystick, as soon as they see those propellers moving, they just take that left joystick and they go, this is the one that goes up. And you go, why is that drone on the ceiling? Well, that drone's on the ceiling because the sensor's going, hey, we didn't stop. What's going on here? Where is it? And then your drone's up there on the ceiling. So I thought I should tell you maybe that one. And I'm going to tell you that while I use here's the new batteries, here's the used batteries. I do have my separate containers, which helps me a lot. Batteries last 8 minutes. It is a long time in the classroom, believe it or not. But I do not give out the batteries to the students. If I have this battery in my hand, I know that everyone is safe. I know everyone is safe. And I don't let these batteries go until they are in the flight area, until that checklist has been checked that the drone is facing the other way. And I make all the kids keep a NASA fail-safe. NASA always, if a rocket's going up, but what happens if something doesn't work? We have a fail-safe plan for something going on. And so I have fail-safe codes right on there that if something's not going right, somebody opened the door. Oh my gosh, somebody walked all of a sudden in front of the lane. There's cones everywhere. Somebody just was walking. Oh, I was just going to go get my drone. And it's like, hey, but this other drone is flying. You could get hit. So we have a fail-safe, and the fail-safe is you press that top button and you got your left joystick down, and that can come down, or if they're coding, hit the space bar key or whatever key they want to hit. And so, those are things. So when you plan, take time to really plan out your flight area. Safety is always going to be your goal. Do not give students the batteries. They can have the drone, they can be with the controller, and everyone's going to be successful because this is just really, it's a wonderful drone. I've used it in our family science night, have used it at elementary, middle, and high school. And they all love it, and you'll be great. Safety is your highest priority. Look at your area, what you want to do. You're the leader.
Thank you, Sally. Omar, any advice you'd like to share? We are almost at time, but I would love to still hear from you. Any advice you'd like to share?
Yeah, absolutely. Just always be a student yourself too. Every time I teach a lesson, I always learn something myself, especially when I run through the constantly updating curriculum, which is amazing. The newest version has been the best. So each time each time I go through it, I pick up something new and it kind of retains. And definitely apply everything that you learn from the classroom curriculum level over to the competitive side. The sensor utilization and all that will help you get a better competitive edge. Aside from that, it's been awesome. They're really simple to use. My wife uses them in social studies. She's done them so she teaches Texas history. They've utilized them in order to redo like the different trails that people have walked and different things like that. And so you can use them for a handful of things. They're really fun to fly. One thing I did want to share, particularly going back to like the job of the visual observer, I actually had a student come up to me and wanting to do it because he wanted to be down in the action in the competition aspect. The previous 2 years, there's always like these blind spots where the drones would have to fly, and in order to get back there, you had to have good communication, clear, concise instructions for your pilot. And the visual observer had like the crazy role, and it was totally his job and his responsibility. One year it was to get through 2 keyholes and then fly back over. And then the following year it was actually to move 10 wiffle balls going across these, like it was between 2 PVC pipes. And again, that communication was key. So ironically, it was the quietest kid. And one of the biggest things that comes out from drones is definitely the communication. This kid is now pursuing theater in high school, but he's definitely, I'm an advocate for like kids finding their voice through like these after school extracurricular programs. This kid definitely found his voice as the visual observer. Yes. He had to be loud. He had to be, because he'd be like, down, down. I'm like, Aldo, I cannot hear you, Aldo. Come on, you got to give him something when the crowds are cheering, give me some hand expressions and things like that. And it's just so much fun to be up in the action there. Just my tidbits are definitely stay a student, have fun, make sure the kids are having fun, and they'll keep putting in the work for you.
Oh my gosh, I love that. What a great thing to sign off on. So we're a little bit over, but I do have 2 more things, and we have our drone giveaway. Did not forget about that. Hold on, I want to make sure I can see everyone still. Where'd you go? There you are. Okay. So, can you see my screen? Did I do it right? I did it right. Okay. So, our panelists, these are all our ambassadors. And so these are our super users. So if you are resonating with what they're saying, I love that Sally mentioned that, she feels like out in Maryland, like that she's by herself, but like this community has really like connected her to like resources and like just people to brainstorm with and share celebrations and ask questions. So we have our ambassador program. We also have our certified educator course. So this is a course to kind of, if you're wanting to know more about the curriculum, about the Robolink ecosystem, our resources, this is a great way to learn about it. It's self-paced, takes about 30 minutes, and you get like a handy little digital badge. This is on Robolink Learn. This presentation, our ambassadors, actually, the panelists made slides with pictures and some of their notes. So I'm going to share this out. That way you can see those pictures and videos. Suzanne actually put some of the dancing drones. So we had a few requests for that. So that's in there. And so, these are clickable. That's what made me think of that. And then we also have a Facebook group. So if you're wanting to get involved, maybe do the educator course, join our Facebook group to connect, share, and learn. And then now who wants a drone? I already did the drawing. Let me make sure this person is still here. They are. Can I please have a drum roll? Thank you. Our winner of the drone is Tiffany Ludlow. Tiffany, can you just give us something in the chat to make sure you didn't walk away? Is that very teachery of me? Is to call you out? Sorry, Tiffany, I called you out. I feel bad now. Never mind. If you want to say, yay, she's here. I didn't just put her on blast. Perfect. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining. Tiffany, I have your email, so I'll be contacting you to get your address to get you that drone. So excited for you. Thank you again to our wonderful panelists for joining us. This has been so valuable, and I'm so thankful for y'all to share your wealth of knowledge with our group and community. We are on social media, so our handle on just about everything is Robolink Inc. So please follow and join along for our next community webinar and next community event. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Y'all have a great Thursday. Great Thursday. Perfect. And then let's see, there's some Q&As. I'll follow up on Q&As in the email because some of these are like oddly specific. Perfect. Okay, thank you. I'm going to end. Bye, y'all. Have a great Thursday.